Hello and hello and greetings from Philadelphia, Pennsylvania. Hope you're good. Sorry, we're a little later today. I don't know if it's going to matter. It's 8 o'clock your time on the launch of the tip-off today. My son is out of school because of a ski race today. Bad parent, I know. It's all right. It's his end of year race, and so I got to Skype with him. We play this fun little game where each of us has to come up with a. He starts at A with a word, and then everyone, first letter of the alphabet, have to come up with it, and then I have to turn it into a story at the end. So that was fun this morning. I'm going to do something a little differently today. I will check some tip off questions, but I'm going to kind of share with you what the road is like and what we're doing and that kind of stuff. But I'll get to a bunch of you probably don't care about that, so I'll leave that for last. Um, as we hit day 8 million of this road trip here in Philadelphia tomorrow in Chicago. Jazz and the Sixers. The Sixers just play defense and half court, and 90 points is their magic number. They are 20-4 when they hold the opponent below 90, and 3-13 when the opponent gets above 90. Yes, 90. So this could be a drag it out, punch it out game. They have struggled badly late in games. They go to Lou Williams, but they have struggled with Iguodala trying to take those shots and how to win those. They have lost 8 of their last 11. When Spencer Hawes is out, they are not quite the same team as they were earlier this year, and they were home heavy there for a while. So I don't know if this one's there for the taking, but it should be a close game. Should be a good one. This is the big game of the trip. This is the game that bends the trip. I think it's pretty unrealistic to beat Chicago on the last game of this trip. The other one I would just point out, I was talking to last night. I actually had a cool night. I went out, and I'll talk about this on the road, but I went to Muramado's, the Iron Chef's place last night. And then I came back, and I actually just got into 3 or 4 conversations with guys around the league. Thursday night's kind of the night you do that. There were only 2 games playing. By the way, both those games, look and see if anyone took more shots than points scored. I am telling you, if the guy who takes the most shots, and often the guy who takes the second most shots, has more shot attempts than points scored, you lose. I believe that happened in both games last night. How about Jason Terry, by the way, not being on the floor at the end of the game? But anyway, so I was talking to a bunch of people around the league, and there's a bunch of stories, and I'll get to them. But I thought what was really interesting is, I don't know how you guys feel about it, but it is still abundantly clear around the league that we are known as a team that plays hard. People are very impressed with Tyrone Corbin and the fact that the Jazz play hard. Now, I think sometimes our perception in-house, we still think about the New Orleans game, or I think New York, we got caught in a phenomenon, but these guys really have played hard almost every night. New Orleans was our dud, but heck, Oklahoma City's got a few duds. We've seen the last few nights that, LA has a few duds. Everyone's got a few duds. Boston simply didn't play the other night when they played Philadelphia. And you're going to begin to see more and more of that as this season goes on, where teams are just going to Boston got behind by 14 in the first quarter. I think they were still in it. Then they got down by 20 in the second quarter. I think they just let it go then. And that's going to be the question for us the rest of the way. Because tonight's an interesting game. I don't think we're particularly tired. We've been on the road for 4 games, but it's not a big deal. And tomorrow we get tired. The killer is we come back. Sunday's off. Monday we play again. Tuesday we fly. Wednesday we play again. Thursday we're at home. Friday you get an actual day off without travel for the first time since March 1st in 16 days, and for the last time of the month. The Utah Jazz have one day in the entire month of March where we do not have a day off and don't get on an airplane. Actually, March 6th, by definition, right there between Cleveland. We have one day at home all year, all month, and one day on the road. So you're going to we've got to have some dogs in here somewhere. I don't know where they're showing up, but they it just has to happen. Um, and so we'll see how the team reacts. That's going to be the issue. I don't think tonight's going to be one of those nights, but it's where if you could steal tonight, it'd be huge. Because there's some bad losses coming. The schedule guarantees it. There's no other possibility to that. Where'd my notes go? Here they are. Trade deadline stuff. The Blazers are definitely shopping a whole lot of their roster right now. That thing is broken. Every indication I have, they're 19-20. Something's gone disastrously wrong in Portland, and they are looking to shop that. Josh Smith in Atlanta has demanded a trade. He's a very interesting player because he's never been able to be managed. He's incredibly inefficient offensively. He's not really a power forward, but that's his size. But his athleticism is unreal. I'm not sure you can totally win with him, but he's a pretty interesting player. If I was a GM, offensively the numbers tell me stay away. I would really have to investigate what he does defensively before I decided that. Because two things. Atlanta, in my opinion, has far exceeded expectations this year without Al Horford. And I'm convinced it's not because of Joe Johnson. That's my personal bias. I may be wrong. So I'd have to look into what Josh Smith might be doing to create that. Because I always feel Atlanta's a little better than you might expect. We're still waiting on Dwight Howard. More and more teams are getting involved. Atlanta's suddenly involved. That's his hometown. Boy, there's not a lot of time left. There's 6 days left. And is Howard willing to sign an extension in a bunch of these places? I personally still stick to that. I think Dwight and Darren have a plan. Everybody on that Olympic team has had a plan with each other, so why wouldn't they? And that Dwight is trying to avoid being traded right now so that he can stay in control of it. Orlando, I don't know what they do. Because I don't know if you can even believe Dwight if he's telling you right now that he wants to come back. And the Lakers are 6 days away, and I can't imagine that the Lakers cross over this trade deadline without making a move. Not after losses to Detroit and Washington. Not the pressure cooker that they're in. I just can't envision them going another step without making that move of some sort. Don't you agree? I mean, I don't have, this isn't like sources or anything, but I I can't see that the Lakers are going to decide that they can continue this way, and Kobe will just become a disaster if that's the case. Boston's the wild card out there, and what you really there's a craziness to this season because of the schedule. Boston has to try to figure out when healthy and rested, the rare times that's happened, how good are they? So, in other words, if Boston healthy and rested last year, if Rondo gets hurt in the playoffs. If he doesn't get hurt, could they have beat Boston or Miami? They lost to Miami, if you recall. Maybe. And do they have one more run in them? I think if I'm Boston, I'm just getting to the playoffs if I'm Boston. And they're better with Brandon Bass than Glenn Davis. Glenn Davis is awful. That was such a brilliant trade. They're still short some pieces. But if I'm Boston, I think I'd make that one more run and I don't blow anything up before the trade deadline. I think I can get to the Final Four in the East, and then you just never know what happens. And Rondo could, if you get the right matchup and you get Chicago in the second round, and Rondo starts to give Rose problems, Boozer would wilt against Garnett. You have a chance to win that series. All right, that's the basketball talk for the day. I was going to check tip-off quickly, and I was just going to share. I don't know. I don't know if you guys are interested, so that's why I'm doing it last, because I figure you can just turn this off if you want to. Yes, somebody said that Derek Favors is on the block. I'd be stunned. the coaches are very pleased with him right now. So I think I think Sam Amico missed his, not Amick, but Amico missed his, um, I think he missed his calling on that one. He's a pretty good reporter, though. Let's see. Somebody wrote me a long, long thing about Burks. Who would I compare Burks to? I think he's not as long Latrell Sprewell as a thought I have for you. Um, I don't, we all talk about Dwayne Wade, but that's one of the five best players in the league, so I don't see that. I think he might be a not as long, better John Salmons. I don't think he's going to be able to defend or post up the way Sprewell does, so that would be the problem there. I don't know on Burke. What did I write about in the draft? Let me quickly look that up. Alec Burks, David Locke, scouting, David Locke draft, scouting. Who did I write on the draft day? Don't think anything Burks has done has surprised me. This is kind of who I thought he was. I'd like to. I think we'd all like to see him get on the floor more and show more. My best case scenario is Paul Pierce. He's not that big. My likely case scenario is Josh Howard. Actually, I think that's a really good comparison. DeMar DeRozan was another one. The worst case scenario is Willie Green. Actually, I think Josh Howard's. I think he actually could. Now the question: can he be more? Get to the free throw line more, be efficient. Let me just. So anyway, let me share road. You can say goodbye now. See ya if you want to. For those of you, this is like Ben Bagley just left the podcast because he knows what the road's like. We refer to something as the tube, and frankly, this road trip has been a very large tube road trip. The tube is that when we left Friday after the Miami game, we go to the airport and we walk on the tarmac and we get on our airplane. Now we're in the tube at this moment, and the airplane is the tube, and it takes us and we land, and then there's a bus waiting for us on the tarmac, and we walk about 2 steps outside and we get back into the bus. And then the bus drives us to the hotel. We walk 2 steps outside and into the hotel. Now the tube is the hotel. Either at 9:45 or 10:45 on game days without a game the night before, we have a shoot around. So today it's it's in like 30 minutes. I got to go. It's at 10:45. I think Philly's shooting first. And so we will head over to the arena. The players will do their shoot around. And then we drive into the arena and they get off, and now the tube is the arena, and then we get back on the bus and the tube is the bus, and then we drive back to the hotel and we get back staying. And this has been a tube trip. I did not go outside on this trip until the 4th day of the trip. I was in the tube for all of Dallas and all of Cleveland. There's a mall attached to our hotel in Cleveland, and so that's the only place I went. Dallas, I never stepped outside of the hotel for 1 minute other than to walk across the hallway to get to a gym. The gym's usually in the hotel as well. Then Charlotte, this trip then became long because Charlotte, we were there for 3 days. Me personally, I like to, when possible, Cleveland's not a city you would do this in. I like to wake up early, go walk the city and see how a city wakes up, take in how the people are. So this morning I got up at about 7:05 and I walked out about a mile, half a mile, maybe a mile, actually pretty far, to a coffee shop and just kind of sat there, had my morning espresso, and watched as people woke up and saw them come into town and saw what, just kind of watch them. People in Charlotte greet people differently than Philadelphia. People in Charlotte dress differently than people in Philadelphia. Cleveland's a grizzled city. Charlotte's cool. Charlotte's got a lot of diversity, a lot of heavy Indian population. Still a lot of people smoke in Charlotte, I thought was interesting. But there's a happiness to Charlotte. This place obviously doesn't have that same happiness. It's not a very, what I would call, elegant city. I don't see a lot of people dressed up. There doesn't seem to be a lot of show to it. There's not particularly attractive people. Like you can tell in Charlotte and other places, the metrosexual or whatever. There's people trying really hard. I don't see that here the same way. So that's kind of how this trip works. Most of the guys order room service. Earl and I talked about going to dinner last night, and then he had ordered room service by the time I hit him up. I don't usually go out with the players. That's pretty unusual, but I was going to a restaurant that I thought Earl would be the one guy on the roster that would care about. Raja probably would too, but Raja has people here. they stay together as a group, but you'd be surprised how calm I think most of it is. But this is a long trip, and so you probably worn down a little bit, and you just feel out of touch. I definitely yesterday personally was just like, okay, I've got to do something for myself to make this trip worth it. I went out and treated myself to the most expensive dinner I've ever had in my life. Um, what else would I share with you about the road? But I mean, today's kind of a very typical day. Today, I got up and did that. Then I do this with you guys. I Skype with my kids, and then we'll go to shoot around 10:45 bus. So that really means 10:35 because they don't wait for broadcasters. We will take the bus to the arena. They'll shoot around. We come back. By that time, it's 12:30. And it's funny how fast your day goes because I enjoy going over. There's two buses that go over later in the day uh, to the arena, um, and I like to take the early bus with the young players, and just that's a good chance for me to sit down and get to know them. It's where I hold a lot of my conversations and interact with them, and kind of then can relay to you guys who they are. I had that great conversation with Devin the other day. That was actually because I was there early, and Gordon. I've had numerous, and getting to know Alec and Derek and Ennis, and those conversations are really times in which I'm out there trying to get to know those guys better so that I can relate to you who they are. I think that's what's so cool about this. But so my point on this is that's probably a 3:45 bus today. Do we play at 7 or 7:30? I don't even know. Um, and today is a 7. Um, and so suddenly you're back from the hotel 12:30. If you're trying to get to the gym, it's 1:32. You're trying to get something to eat, it's 3 o'clock. You're showering it out, and you got to get all your prep done. So it's amazing how that road day suddenly totally disappears on you. Today is a little funny for me. I will be glued to Skype and websites because my son's got a ski race, and I try to stay somewhat attached. I have my buddies will sit there with their cameras and Skype his last 3 gates and just do that. You're just trying to do everything you can to be attached. I don't know if that was worth it, but I just thought I'd share um, what that was. My meals today will be I had a bagel. I'll probably grab a quick deli somewhere, and then I'll eat either at the arena. I'll probably grab a snack, and then I eat on the plane as we fly to Chicago. Tomorrow's I'll hit Geno's East. So, anyway, I don't know if you have any other questions on that. That may not have been worth it, but hopefully those of you who weren't interested in it were able to get off that. So, all right, there you go. See you. Bye.